How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. We have lots to get through today, from Starfield to Baldur's Gate, Phil Spencer, Pony's hating on PlayStation fans, and more. PlayStation fans doing what they do best and more. So let's get on with the actual video. So first of all, we're going to start with the nitty and gritty, because I think that's the best place to start. Now, what we have here is from Foxy Games. All platform fanboys are ridiculous, he says. Even myself in some instances. But I never expected the PlayStation fanboys who actually follow and watch my channel to do me dirty the way they did during a bereavement process. This I find unforgivable. Foxy, now you know just how effed up your community is. Cheers. All of this because he decided that he wanted to play Starfield. His PC wasn't powerful enough, I assume, to play Starfield, so he went and bought an Xbox to play Starfield, and because of that, his community turned against him. You would not find that in the Xbox community. No matter how toxic and trolling they're gonna get, I just don't see it. I've not seen it. Maybe you guys have, but I personally haven't yet experienced where people turn around and say, I'm buying a PlayStation because I want to play God of War, and then the Xbox community turns against them. I mean, as an example, when Peter Ovo actually turned around and said that he actually bought a PlayStation 5 so we could play God of War Ragnarok because he was so excited for it, a lot of the Xbox community said, good job, well done, good for you. None of them treated him the way Foxy Games was treated by his own PlayStation fanboys. That is a pretty yikes situation to be in. Next up, to follow that train, we have Karim Jovian. He says, I gotta be real here, I have posted love to Sony for years, and not once was there ever an Xbox fan attacking me for it. Generally because if you're a PlayStation centric channel, most of the people don't watch it if they're an Xbox centric fan. If they're neutral, or if they have both, then they may watch both. But generally, fans stick to themselves. I post love to Xbox and celebrate the historic release of Starfield, and I am getting attacked left, right, and center by none other than PlayStation fans, because that is what they do. I am getting DMs of threats of spoiling Starfield for me with actual spoilers. I'ma have to stay away from my inbox until the release, guys. This is so childish. It is pretty awful that he has to actually endure this, and of all the people that are doing it, this is the PlayStation fanbase who cannot stand that they have lost an exclusive. All exclusives have to be on their platform or they will riot and ruin the day for everyone else. You don't see anyone talking about the Spider-Man spoiler. No one would like it here if someone was to turn around and start posting Spider-Man 2 spoilers left, right, and center. No one wants to have a game spoiled for them. So why are PlayStation fans doing this? I've had to block so many people because of this, because I just don't want to see any spoilers. It's sad. It's pathetic that PlayStation fanboys, have lived up to their pony name and have gone the whole 9 yards to actually go this pathetically sad. Colt Eastwood says, I can't imagine jumping into someone else's lane on their post and griefing others' enjoyment. That group is wholly miserable and unsatisfied with the hobby. Keep up the good work. You got PS fanboys are some of the most tribalist and toxic people ever. I mean, I can name a few. I think it has to do with who leads their afflictions, and that's the bigger names in PS social media who make videos that continually question, criticize, and even hate on Xbox content. I own a PS5 Series X for my sons and a high-end gaming PC, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, so I have zero dog in the console wars fight. I honestly do not understand the thought process a person has trying to drag one console or the other for any reason. What is the reasoning, honestly? And that is a good question. It's really sad that people have to go through this sort of thing, and people think it's funny that ruining a game that people have waited for years is something that they have a right to do. And being quite honest, it just really outlines how pathetic these individuals are. If you made it this far, thanks so much for watching the video. However, in my previous videos where I have asked you for a like challenge, you have absolutely smashed it. From me asking for 100 likes and you giving me 1,045 likes, that's insane. Then I asked for 200 and you hit it with 741. So now I'm going to ask you a modest 250 likes. Let's see if you can smash it. We're at 3,091 subs as of right now of the making of this video. That means that we are 909 subs away from our next goal of 4,000 subs. Let's see if we can smash that. Right, on with the video. Next, we move over to IGN, and IGN is back at it again with their amazing Xbox exclusion. Sea of Stars is available, according to them, on PC, PS4, Switch, PS5, but no Xbox. And when questioned and called out, they eventually added it to their US site, but the reality is none of their other publications around the world have done it. This isn't just a one-time thing, it's a unilateral thing. They universally do this. I really wish they would come out and comment as to why they do this and just say, we do not like Xbox. We hate Xbox with a passion. And then people that actually want Xbox content will just stay away from them. And maybe Microsoft will turn their back on IGN for good and tell them to eventually just piss off. I mean, that's essentially what really needs to be done here. Because IGN, in doing what they're doing here, clearly has picked a side. And if you've picked a side, you die on that side. You can't play it both ways at this point. You either stay neutral or you pick a side. And since they've picked a side, Microsoft should exclude them from everything. Just go to someone else. Eurogamer, anyone. There's so many other websites out there that could do with, the benefits. Sony won't remain number one forever. And when the tide starts turning, you'll see IGN trying to switch sides again because they want to be on the side where all the big boys are at. And at that point, I'd love for both Sony and Microsoft to just shun them out completely and just ruin that website entirely. They're a waste of space. Alright, some good news with Baldur's Gate 3. As we can see from Sven Vinke, hope I pronounced that correctly, super happy to confirm that after meeting Phil Spencer yesterday, we found a solution that allows us to bring Baldur's Gate 3 to Xbox players this year. So it's confirmed it isn't a one-year exclusive. All of that drama that was going out where people were saying that, including myself, that was saying that this was a timed exclusive. I mean, it technically kind of still is, even though it wasn't, I guess we're seeing now, intentional. And maybe it still was intentional because it is moving it outside of the window of Starfield. But regardless of that, they have worked out a solution towards this. And as it says here, all improvements will be there, with split screen co-op on Xbox Series X, but Series S will not feature split screen co-op, but will also include cross-save progression between Steam and Xbox Series consoles. Now, I think this is huge, right? I think this is actually huge. Not for the fact that they've broken parity, that is one thing. So we've now seen that parity can be broken on a case-by-case basis, and that is huge in itself. And I think now that Phil has opened the floodgates here, we will see more of that in the future. So this sort of thing doesn't really happen again. But the biggest thing that we are seeing here is the fact that Steam saves and Series X, Xbox Series saves are going to be compatible between cross-save. That is a very, very big thing. Now, what I would also like to see is other games like Starfield being cross-save between Steam, Game Pass PC, Series X. That would be really nice, and if this could become a trend going forward, it just gives me more reasons to purchase the game on multi-platform. I like to play my PC games on the cloud. The Game Pass X Cloud is Xbox versions of the game, not PC versions. So if I want to play a full fat version of the game, I go to GeForce Now. And if it's available on Steam and GeForce Now supports it, my save from Xbox would then work on there. And in return, they've got an extra copy of the game purchased by me. And if it was already available on Game Pass, it means they get my subscription and the purchase price of the game. It's a win-win for Microsoft. I have put out a question for Peter Hines to see if this is actually, something that they will potentially look at doing in the future. But as of right now, no response. So hopefully we get a response and I'll make another video on that. But that is the case right now. Big news for Starfield fans. Well, we are getting a new Game Plus mode. It is coming out of the box. It's not going to be something that comes 6 months down the line or a year down the line, or something that comes post-patch or part of an expansion or part of a DLC. It is coming out the box, and it is pretty awesome that it is. I'm really happy for this, because what does this mean? Well, it means that if you're playing through one playthrough right now, and you want to keep all those stats, all those mods and stuff that you've actually got from your first playthrough, you can do that, restart the game and play through a different faction's timeline while keeping what you have. So you're not kind of doing that all fresh again. You've got that boost, so the second and third playthrough will be even faster and you get even stronger. I'm really liking the idea of that, because I actually want, this is one of the first games I actually want to do multiple playthroughs to see the different faction storylines, and yeah, cool stuff. Heron Jovian has dropped some non-spoiler Starfield information that he saw at the Gamescom show. It's only a couple of bullet points, there is no spoilers here. He says they showed 25 to 30 minutes of gameplay, which cuts first 2 hours of the game. Todd Howard also said something similar. It was a customized experience that they made for the show, because the first 4 hours of the game is pretty tutorial heavy. Game looks nice, however faces look dated, he said. Helmet highlights faces, making them look better. Sound effects and soundtrack are spectacular. Gunplay and ship combat is hard hitting. One viewer says Friday something big is coming, so hopefully we'll see something tomorrow. Enemy hit feedback is much better, especially when compared to Fallout 4. He continues, views, vista and lighting are jaw-dropping, as we've already seen from the trailers, the videos, the gameplays. They do look really good. Voice acting much better than previous titles, and the reload animations were surprisingly slick. And that is all he had to say on the matter, but that is pretty damn awesome news. For those of you that know King David, who apparently has a review code, thinks that Starfield has a chance at Game of the Year 2023. We've all known this, but you know, I'm really hoping this game knocks it out the park. I really don't care for Game of the Year personally, but I do hope the game is good. Next we have this, head of Xbox Phil Spencer likes Starfield to Oblivion as opposed to Skyrim. If we listen to this clip.
So we're super excited for Starfield. But
super excited.
I am.
So I think I'm on my 15th playthrough. I'm probably 200 hours in, but not on one playthrough. Because like we change same game formats, blah, 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 all that stuff. So I started in November, but I'm playing like, I think on my final character playthrough, total space pirate. Man, I'm total space pirate. I think it's more Oblivion than Skyrim. For people who play, maybe they'll get that. It is an epic, epic game.
But as you can see there's a lot to unpack there. He's been playing the game since November, which is, I mean, you'd expect that as he's trialing out the different builds. After all, this game, in my opinion, is a make or break game for Xbox. It has to do well. It has to knock it out the park. He spent over 200 hours and he is still excited to play it, which says something about the longevity of this game and the way Bethesda build their games. He's clearly picked the Space Pirates, which I know a lot of you will do, but what I liked here was the comparison that he made to previous Bethesda games in Skyrim and Oblivion, and saying it's more like Oblivion. For those of you that will get that reference, it's a pretty strong reference to make, and it does give you a sense of direction of how the game will feel, play in certain ways, and how the story, I think, will develop. Next, we have this here with Phil Spencer reiterating that unlike other platforms, Xbox as a console is here to stay. They are already working on the next version of the Xbox. They do not believe that they need a mid-season refresher, because at the end of the day, there is still so much more for them to unpack with the current Series X, and companies are only just starting to see what's there within the power of the current gen consoles, considering they've been working with the previous gen. And if you're working as a base on the previous gens, then there's a problem there, because you're never going to really utilize the next gen, because you'll always be held back by the previous gen. So he still believes that there's plenty there to unpack with software, techniques, and other formats in order to get more out of the consoles. So he doesn't believe that a next gen refresh is needed, and personally I don't think so either. It's all about optimization in the end and having a realistic kind of vision on what you're going to get. I can see PlayStation fans actually believing that with the PS5 Pro they're going to get 4K native 60 FPS. They're smoking crack or something, or snorting it. I don't know what it is at this point, but they definitely will not be getting native 4K 60 FPS with a PS5 Pro unless it's priced somewhere in the region of, say, around £2,500–3,000. And I don't think PlayStation are in the business of not selling a console. So on that note, if it's going to be priced at 500, it's not going to happen unless the game is really basic, cel-shaded, and doesn't really need to do anything. In which case, the current PS5 and the Series X will be more than capable of handling that. So I think people should stop their delusions of grandeur, especially if you're a PS5 Pro wanter. I mean, I want a PS5 Pro, but I'm not delusional thinking that it's going to be 4K native 60 FPS. I mean, if you look at Avarium, UE5, not even a 490 is running that on 60 FPS. So, some disappointing news that the 360 titles, the store is going to close. With that news, Microsoft's head of gaming has said that he would love to find solutions to ensuring that hundreds of Xbox 360 titles aren't lost when the console's digital store closes next year. Now, obviously, the easiest solution that you'll see in the comment section is that, well, just don't close the store. But sometimes it's not that simple. With the amount of cost that servers have to keep running, if the cost doesn't outweigh the money coming in, it's a business in the end. And I know people are going to say, well, they just spent 68 million. That is an investment. This is not an investment. Investment money is different. But the reality is, I'm hoping that they do find a solution for this. And folks, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. Lots of news, lots of information. Do leave a like, do hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Remain legend.